Excited to be here to share with you my story of subtraction. Now let's get started. Have you ever stayed in a relationship just because it once made you feel so loved, so chosen, so seen? Well, I have. We had grown up together, and at one point we were each other's entire world. But slowly things changed. Not in a dramatic way, but in the way life quietly shifts. The sparks soften into routines. The conversations grew shorter and the silence longer. And I found myself mourning something that wasn't even gone yet. I remember one evening we were sitting next to each other, close in distance, but far in feelings. No argument, no tears, just a quiet space that made me realize we were watching our days gone by without living them. Not as individuals, not as a couple. And that made me wonder, had we stopped growing or had we grown apart? Still, I stayed because how do you walk away from someone who had been a significant part of your life, who saw you through every versions of yourself? Letting go wasn't loud. There was no slammed doors or dramatic goodbyes. Just a quiet ache and a deep knowing that we were no longer moving in the same directions. I used to believe that if love wasn't toxic, I had no right to leave, that I should stay, simply because we had so much history together. But here's what I've learned. Some things are meant to shape us, not to stay with us. And sometimes the most loving thing you could do for both of you is to let go of something good, to leave space for something true. But even knowing that, I still held on. And I asked myself, why over and over? Why was it so hard for me to leave something that wasn't hurting me, but wasn't healing me either? Was it just me? Am I too sensitive, too sentimental, too attached? But the truth is, this is something we all do. As Lady Claus writes in Subtract, we systematically overlook subtraction as a way to improve. Why? Because subtraction is invisible. It doesn't get celebrated. It doesn't scream success. Letting go doesn't earn applause. It doesn't make headlines. We're conditioned to believe that growth means adding more effort, more years, or compromise. But sometimes the bravest kind of growth is subtraction, especially when it comes to love. We hold on to things not because it's still working, but because it's ours. We have given it time. We fall into what psychologists call the endowment effect. We overvalue things we have just because we have invested in it. We confuse history with destiny. We tell ourselves, but they were there for me. But we had built so much together. But they didn't do anything wrong. Yes, all that can be true, but here's another truth. It suited who you were, not who you are now. Subtraction doesn't stop at romantic love. I've let go of friendships that no longer feel reciprocal. I've let go of identities that look good on the outside but feel heavy on the inside. And this was harder because I have built my entire self around them. For years, I've introduced myself as an NYU student. It wasn't just a school, it was an identity. People see it and they imagine a future for me. A job abroad, a life in New York, a neat success story. And for a while, I did believe in that too. But Deep down, and I never felt like I belonged there. Not because New York wasn't good, but because sometimes the place we dream of doesn't feel like home when we finally arrived. When I graduated, it felt like it's the right time to leave. But letting go doesn't come without grief. I grieve the relationships I created in New York. I grieve the dream apartment I always imagined myself decorating. I grieve the American dream I once chased so ambitiously. And it was really tough because all of my friends are in foreign countries, and it felt like everyone was still chasing the dream I'm walking away from. And I asked myself, am I giving up? Or am I finally listening to myself? This is where the identity theory comes in. We don't just have roles, we become them. And when these roles no longer align, we resist to let go because we don't know who we are without them. I always thought that I had to be the picture perfect one, even when I'm tired, even when it didn't feel like me anymore. So I started to subtract gently, slowly, and intentionally. Letting go of love, letting go of a place, letting go of who I thought I had to be. Each time felt like a loss, but each time I was making space, not for who I was, but for who I am becoming. And maybe that's the quiet miracle of subtraction. I Subtraction doesn't mean that I didn't love those parts of me, but because they were crowding the parts that I haven't met yet. We're conditioned to grow and change, and that includes our dreams and purpose. If I could go back, I wouldn't tell my younger self not to come to New York because New York was once my dream. Instead, I say, follow what feels right to you at the moment. Your dreams, your purpose, they might shift, and that's okay. Some things are meant to shape us, not to stay with us, even the beautiful ones. In Subtract, Lady Claus explains how designers, artists, engineers often improve things, not by adding, but by removing. A sculpture doesn't come to life by adding more clay. Its beauty is revealed when the excess is carved away. In designs, clarity doesn't come from extra details. It comes from white space. And in life, clarity often comes after goodbye. Clarity, letting go isn't giving up. Letting go isn't passive. It's choosing presence over pressure. It's saying, I trust what's left is enough. I don't have to hold on to everything just because they're once mine. I'm allowed to outgrow what once made me I am allowed to outgrow what once gave me comfort. Because subtraction isn't emptiness, it's intentional space for what's real, what's next, what's truly ours. In the end, subtraction isn't about losing, it's about choosing. Choosing to trust what remains after the roles, the title, the shoulds. Choosing to believe that peace can live in empty space. That clarity often comes after goodbye. That soft endings can hold strong beginnings. I used to believe that letting go means that I have failed. That if I'm walking away from something good, that's mean I'm giving up. But what if the things we're so scared to let go of was never meant for us to carry this far? So, let's go slowly. Subtract gently, and while you do, listen to the quiet truth underneath. You are not what you hold on to, you are what you make space for. And the most important thing you'll never lose is you. Thank you.